Hi guys, welcome to Learning Electronics Repair. I have a soldering station here. So this is from AliExpress. And this is a very popular soldering station if we can take, as stated, the number of purchases on AliExpress. Okay, so I'll show you what this is and why. So this is the one, Yihua, that'll do, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, 982 double soldering iron handle. It comes with two handles, but it's not actually a double soldering station. So you can plug in either the C245 handle or the C210 handle for the finer type tips. Okay, it works with both of them, 800 plus sold. So you can see the price of this, €65 with free shipping. I mean, bear in mind that includes VAT. So in the Canary Islands, we don't pay the VAT, which for Spain is 21%. So for me, 64.87 divided by 1.21, it would correct this at checkout. Yeah, it was like €54. Actually, I think it was a little bit more than that because the one I had on the screen there was a US plug, and it cost a couple of euros more with the EU plug. So €55, yeah? And for €55, we definitely get a lot for our money here. Also, it would appear, so operating manual, well, seems to be more about what not to do with it rather than what to do with it. Operating instructions. I think this thing is fairly intuitive. It's a soldering station after all, so it may have some features like remembering the temperature and so on, you know, presets, but let's see if it just works intuitively. So, one soldering station. There's not much weight in that, I'll measure. It's fairly light. I mean, it's not like full of air, but it's not very heavy. Something our cat Munchita would love this. Munchita would love it, but he's not getting his paws on it, okay? Various things. Yeah, this is the thing that holds the cable out of the way. Two handles and a couple of tips. Some brackets. So I'll put the thing together, then let's have a look. Okay, so here's the soldering station. This actually comes with this little holder bracket thing, which you can put a roll of solder on. So the idea is the solder runs through here and you just pull some through off the reel. It doesn't actually show this anywhere in the instruction booklet of how or where to fit it. There are two screws for it. I thought it may well fit on here, but the screws don't screw into any of these holes. They're not threaded, and the screw effectively just goes straight through. So I don't see anywhere where there's two holes. I mean, maybe it is just supported by one here. There's like a little rubber foot on, even though there's two holes. So it doesn't show where to fit it. I probably wouldn't use it. So if you get one, go figure that one out yourself. You probably will very quickly. But yeah, for me, I won't be using it anyway. So this is the C245. It comes with a conical tip. This is not my favorite type, but I'm going to test this using the tips that come with it. Okay. Fits in there very positive, by the way. Yeah. Has the wet sponge and the thing that our cat would love. Okay. And this is the other, so this is the C210. These are a much finer tip, as you can see. So for finer work, yeah. These feel nice and spongy, actually. I'll just compare them to, like, if you like, a real one, because I have some. So this is a C245. Same sort of size. The tip goes in a little bit further. I don't think it's actually longer. No, they're the same length. So in this handle, it just sits in a little bit further, I think. Let's try that. Yeah, not much difference really. Okay, I'll put the one back in that came with this. Yeah, they're pretty level actually. I think it just wasn't inserted properly before. So that's the handle. I've noticed that the length of the cord's a bit shorter on this. So the C245 and C210 are actually both the same length. cables, and you can see that it's about 30 centimeters shorter than the other one I have. It also has a different connector on the end, so you can't plug like the standard JBC type tip in I have here. The connector is different, male rather than female, so that makes me wonder, because it's a different connector, are they just maybe less expensive, these connectors, but then you have to make a more specific handle? This has a locking ring, this doesn't, this clips in. Or is there some difference otherwise? Okay, so I currently have this C245 handle. We're going to try them both. Now, in fairness, this is an inexpensive soldering iron station. There are some a bit cheaper than this one, but they don't take both types of handle, which is why I think this one is very popular. So I'm not expecting it to be like a world-class soldering station. I'm more interested to know is this good enough for €65? Yeah. Before I do power it up, I want to just check one thing. So C245 tips come in like two varieties, if you like. You have 5.5 ohm and 2.5 ohm, and the 2.5 ohm will effectively give more power. Okay, so let's have a look. This is one I have. That's a 5.7 ohm actually in this one. This came with the soldering station. That's the 2.5. So technically that's the higher powered one, and we were playing with these on a little portable C245 and we could see the difference. Okay, so we have a nice little holder here as well. The idea of this, by the way, is you put the thing and then you pull the handle upwards, so if you want to take the tip off easily, slide it in, pull it up. Yeah, there's a metal insert down here, so the tip is landing on there, but if it's falling against the plastic, you probably want to make sure it doesn't do that. Maybe this is just bad technique on my part, not sure. Okay, let's try it. So I'm not doing anything particularly technical in this review, I just want to see how well this actually works. I'm sure for those interested, we can have another look at this and do a teardown to see what's inside it. But most of you guys would not buy one to take it apart. You just want to see if it works well, yeah? So that's what we'll do today. So I'm going to just unsolder and solder a few SMDs on this little T-con board. These are quite good for testing soldering irons because they're quite heavy. There's a very solid power plane in these, okay? And these are scrap ones, obviously. So power it up. Turn it on, bleep, 200. This is changing the set temperature. So I normally operate my soldering irons around 380. Then do we press the button maybe? Maybe we store that. 400, 380, yeah, so it stored it. Yeah, take the soldering iron out, it goes up to temperature, put it back in again, let's see. It's going to cool down. And we'll go back to 200. So 200 must be like the standby temperature. That's probably adjustable, I haven't looked, but that seems fair enough. My similar station goes to 150. Just take it out again. Heats up very quickly actually, there we go. Okay. And then we can change the preset, so 350, yeah, you see it's cooling down. 444, okay, why not? Yep, wham, up it goes. 400. So obviously it heats up faster than it will cool down because of the thermal mass versus the heating element, okay. So 380. Okay, but that's quite responsive, guys. Right. Let's desolder some stuff. I'll come in with the tweezers left-handed, although I am actually right-handed. I'll do this the way I would normally do this sort of work. So add a bit of flux. Okay. Bit of leaded solder. Let's see if this can desolder from one side. Yeah, it does. That's pretty good. Let's try another one. Okay. This time we'll get the tweezers as well. Struggling a bit from one side, we'll go for both sides at once. This is how I normally would use a soldering iron anyway, regardless. So, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Very easy. Let's just try a bit of soldering as well while we're here. So again, I will mention, guys, I'm not a big aficionado of these type of tips. I prefer a chunkier tip. You guys have seen that, or bent conical, but that did the job nicely. Just rotate this around to the angle I want to work. Bit of solder. Okay. I'm left-handed with the tweezers, not my main hand. So I'm going to just take this tool, hold it flat. So normally I would actually hold the soldering iron with my left hand. I'm more precise, I have more control that way. But yeah. A little bit of flux. Easily slide it, yeah. I'm fine working with that, guys. I'll just compare that to my T12 with a big chunky tip just to see what the difference is. And I'm going to switch that off because I'm going to change the tip to like a one I know is a generic one rather than one that came with the soldering iron, as I'm sure quite a lot of you will be interested in that. Let's go for this capacitor. So again, I'll use flux. I'll use the same technique. Add a bit of flux. Add a bit of solder. But notice this is my BC3 tip. So this is a bit like chalk and cheese comparing these two soldering irons. Okay. I'm much more familiar with working with this kind of tip. Okay. So it's no better at unsoldering from one end than the other one was. I mean, this is not exactly a comparison because the ground plates could be heavier in some areas than others, but it didn't like to do it. Go this way. Very easy. So subjective though it is, this is pretty much as good as the T12 at least. I'll see if I can find a different tip now for this. Okay, so this is a BC2. Not as chunky as the BC3, but that's one of the tips I commonly use. And my other favourite is the bent conical. Well, we were using a straight conical, so let's put this one in. Okay, so first of all, does it like the tip? So this is like a generic C245 tip you would buy. JBC compatible. Okay. It's just fine with that. Yeah, let's try it. In my experience with soldering, the type of tip has probably as much, if not more, difference on the results than anything else. Yeah, once you get the basic technique. So this is not as chunky as the one I would normally use, but it's heading in that direction. Let's just see. So I'm still set on 380. I'm not using a booster or anything. Not set it up to very high temperatures. Let's have a look. So yeah, look, I believe that came off easy, and I hope you guys will agree. And that's because I'm more familiar with this type of tip. Okay. I know you guys all have your own choices on this. BC3 or bent conical for me. I know some of you prefer the knife blade type tips. It honestly is down to what suits you. Try a few times. If you're new to this, I would say get a BC3 or a BC2. BC3 is the chunkier one. Get a bent conical and give them a go. And I think you'll find that one of them suits you better. And they will both suit you better than the normal straight comical. The normal straight conical tip. Okay? So, C245 on this cheapo soldering station. Guess my thumbs up. Let's try the C210. So this is a much smaller, much finer tip. I can make a comparison because I actually have a C210, my own, with a bent conical, although it probably needs replacing. It's a little bit too bent these days. But we'll make a comparison between the two. So I've put the new tip in. It goes to 200. Heating up fast. This also would cool down faster as well because it has less thermal mass. Okay. So the more thermal mass your tip has, the longer it would take to heat up and cool down. But I mean, this is very quick. You're not going to notice the odd second difference. Right, let's see how well this works. And this isn't really intended for unsoldering chunky components. This is more intended for very fine work. Some small resistors here. Okay, let's try it. So, add a bit of leaded solder, a bit of flux. Okay, let's see how well this one solders. It's unsoldered, took a few seconds. There are some heavy ground planes on this board, as I mentioned, which is why I'm using it. Okay. Let's try my bent conical tip. And then I'll try swap the tips like I did with the other one. So you'll see this is very bent now. It's just a bit worn out in actual fact, but let's see. So I'm on the same temperature. Okay. Much easier. So this is on my Sugon T6 soldering station, which is like €150 or something worth of soldering station, between 150 and 200. Although I had it for a couple of years, so obviously prices do change. But let's take this tip off here and try it in the other iron. Okay, let's see. So power on. It's happy with the tip, no problem. So this obviously works just fine with standard tips, yeah. Let's see how well this works. Let's get a bit of flux. Okay. A bit of solder. I should use finer solder than this, to be honest, for these size components. You see they're very small. Let's try it. Very easy, okay. I slipped, but it came off. It unsoldered very easily. Yeah. So it's working with the same tip I was using in my T26D. This, honestly, guys, is working to an equal performance, I would say, working just as well. Just wants a little bit of solder. Okay. Yeah, see, it came straight off. Once I added some fresh solder, instantly. So, pros and cons. Well, on the pro side, it's inexpensive. This really is inexpensive for what it is. It's very flexible in as much as it will take both tip types. And from what I've seen on a fairly quick test there, but soldering on T-con boards is fairly demanding, that it works equally as well as my T12 does, or as the Sugon T26D does. Bear in mind the Sugon T26D is only C10, it won't take C45, and the T12 is slightly older technology, shall we say. So I don't see any real difference in that respect, performance-wise, even though this is quite cheap. Other pros, it uses standard C245 or C210 bits, and we've tried that. I've used the provided ones, I've used ones I have already, it worked just fine. It has a wide selection of tips you can use because of the two handles, so a very wide range of work you can do. I also like the fact it came with like the wet sponge, although it wasn't already wet, of course, and the thing that our cat would love, yeah, that little metal whatever it is. Okay, so that is another pro. I know somebody's going to tell me exactly it's like wire wool or something. Okay, on the cons side, from what I can see, it's only available with straight conical tips, and these are not my preferred choice, and I don't think these are the best choice for just about anybody, to be quite honest. I would like to see this available with a choice of tips. I mean, you may be able to buy it as a bundle with 4 or 5 different tips, or even if you had the choice of like straight conical, bent conical, or knife or something, that would give you more flexibility. But hey, these tips are quite cheap. I mean, like a few euros each. Yeah, these ones are clones, copies. They're not JBC, and they were not expensive at all. They work fine. These tips I have, these were clones, copies. They're not original JBC tips, and they work just fine. Okay. Other con, it has a strange connector on the handle, which means that you can't fit a standard handle if that one breaks. Having said that, soldering handles don't break really. I mean, even my T12, which I've had since about 2019, I'm sure it was 2019, maybe before, works just fine. Okay, and the handle still works. But why they didn't fit the standardized plug, I have no idea. I don't see why it makes a difference. So that is a con. Okay, and the other con is that this is not exactly like a dual handle soldering station. You plug one or the other in. Now, it took me a minute or two to switch it off, take the pliers to take the tip out and unscrew this and screw the other one back in and put the tip in, whatever, a minute or so. So if you're looking for like something that's a true dual handle one, well, you have to spend more and buy one. Yeah, but for 60 euros, I mean, that is the biggest pro with this. It's easy to use, it has a nice user interface as well, I can see that, and it's not expensive in the slightest. Okay, so this gives my thumbs up. If you're looking for a soldering station, you've got one of the old soldering irons which doesn't have like the embedded heater in the tip, change over, because this is a game changer. Yeah, absolute game changer compared to the old type we used to use. And for 60 odd euros, I mean, you know, that is not a big price to pay for that, especially considering you got both handles. Yeah, and these handles cost a bit. So although this is not expensive, undoubtedly it's not the best soldering station in the world. For 60, I think you'd be hard pushed to find anything better. But you know, you guys might know, so let me know in the comments down there below, and also let me know if you'd like to see what's inside this and go a bit more in depth. And for those of you who just want to buy a decent soldering station at a good price, there you go. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.